Hello everyone, this video will cover Module 5. Module 5 starts our next essay. You'll be writing a cause and effect essay next. And so this module will start us off just like we did with the narrative essay, with learning more about the style, learning a little bit more about how to write it, and then doing some planning. And then you'll turn that in, and in the next modules when we'll start drafting. So we're actually going to take, I think, 3 modules for this one. So we're kind of expanding the number of modules for each essay because we're adding more things to do in the middle, which means we're expanding that step-by-step process so that you are spending a little bit more time with the content of the essay and perfecting the essay and things like that. So we are going to start again just with learning about cause and effect. So your readings are to look through the textbook and read the sections on cause and effect. There are 2 examples that I want you to look at as well, and all of those will be on the quiz. So that you can see chapter 10, cause and effect. It's under the section on part 2, readings for writers, and there's all kinds of information about how to use cause and effect. The most helpful section, usually besides just understanding what cause and effect is typically this like planning and structuring, so that you know how to develop a thesis statement, how do you arrange causes and effects, that kind of thing. And so when you're sitting down to complete the outline portion of the workshop discussion board, and then you can come back here to this section and see, you know, what does it look like to arrange causes versus effects? How should you create a thesis statement? What does it look like if you're focusing on causes versus focusing on effects, that kind of thing. So how can you plan it out? So that will help you out. Obviously, you want to do the reading before you take the quiz, but then as you get into the assignment, hopefully you'll have a better understanding. So for the assignment, you have 4 choices for your topic. Most topics that students can think of kind of fall under one of these 4 categories, but keep in mind that all of the essays in this class are going to come from your personal experience. And so you're not doing like a big research paper outside of what you already know. And so that's just something to think about in the next essay. So the last major essay that we do for the class is one that actually has a source to it, but this one does not. So you're focusing on experiences that you have had. Obviously, this needs to be a different experience than what you wrote about for your narrative essay. So just keep that in mind. You've got 4 options. The first one is to write about how a book, movie, play, musical, television show, etc. Had a significant or memorable impact on your life. So causes and effects for something that you watched or read and how it affected you. You can also write about an education-related experience that had a significant or memorable impact on your life. It may be a specific classroom event, an extracurricular activity, maybe some kind of interaction you had with someone. And so you would then explain how that had an effect on you. So unlike the narrative where we were telling the story of an experience that you had, in this one you're focusing on what caused it and then the effects it had on you. So we're approaching it differently. We're not telling the story for this one. We are focusing on that cause-effect relationship. So that's a big difference here, and sometimes students get themselves confused when they're writing it. You could also write about an experience of civility or incivility. So it might be witnessing an episode of bullying or being bullied. It might be helping a stranger. It might be something that you were involved in or something you witnessed. And so in that case, you would want to, again, write about the cause and effects, especially, what caused the event to happen, particularly if you were involved somehow, and then how did it affect you afterwards. So there's quite a few things that you could do with that. And then this last one, which is one that I think a lot of students choose, to me, this one's the easiest to write about, and that is a lifestyle choice that you've made that either has had a positive or negative impact on you. And so that might be a healthy change that you've made. Maybe you decided to go back to school. Maybe you bought a house. Maybe you decided to, invest in a planner and start planning things. So there's a lot of things that you could write about. So I usually give my example here. I started running a couple of years ago. I say running, but I'm going to use that term loosely because it's like a slow jog at this point. But I've definitely gotten better, like better cardiovascular health. I can endure more cardio. I feel a lot more awake. I'm, a little bit more proud of things that I can accomplish. I definitely feel stronger. So there's been a lot of positive effects on my life, and a few negative ones. I found out some things about my feet that I had to take care of. So there's been some give and take there, but I can definitely write about, what kind of caused me to choose this change in my life, and then what were the effects that happened as a result. So this is a good one. This is the one that students tend to do the best with. So then in the essay itself is focused, like I said, on the causes and effects. That's the body paragraphs, the main points being that relationship between what's a cause versus an effect, and then going through a logical pattern of them. Typically, order of time is the easiest. So you start with the causes and then transition to the effects and kind of what order they went in. But sometimes you have to go more in order of importance. So if you're going to cover like 3 important effects and that's it, then you want to go in the order of importance for you. And then obviously you're writing in first person. This is about you, but we want to make sure that we are really focused on that relationship between how it affected your life and what caused you to do it or to see it or whatever in the first place. So 2 to 5 pages. So it's roughly the same length, I think, as the previous essay. We're not really expanding the essay. We're expanding the difficulty level for students. So I've got some examples here. This is like a video example of a way a movie changed his life. And then there are some other examples of different types of essays that students have read or students have written, and then these are other examples. I think these are the 2 that are about something that affected their life, like the change that they made. And then the free write that you'll do is just like we've done before. Just as a reminder for free writes, you're setting that timer for 10 minutes and you're typing continuously. You can choose 1 or more prompts to help you out, but do not correct your grammar, okay? We want the errors in there. To do it correctly, you're letting the errors stay there, because when you're free writing, you're not stopping to think. You're just getting it all out of your head and onto the page. So we don't really care what it looks like. So that's important. I keep having to emphasize that. Do not correct your grammar for a free write. And then doing the thesis and outline workshop, just like we did with the narrative essay. You'll be looking at the causes and effects and at least 3 that you want to cover in the essay. So now it will look different from what you did. If you're having trouble with the outline, you can always ask an AI generator to help you out, but make sure that you label what's your idea versus the AI idea. You can't just slap an AI outline on there and count it as yours. You want to make sure that you're labeling things and then responding to your classmates with some ideas for them, that kind of thing. So if you have questions about this, let me know. Otherwise, feel free to get the assignments done, and send me an email if you're stuck, if you're not sure what topic to use, if you're lost or confused or whatever. Send me an email. Otherwise, have a great